Hello, Jacob Richards here. Today we're going to talk about Soup Revivified. Curious, interesting, right? Simply, it's another way to say Effortless Healing. It's by Dr. Joseph Mercola. Been listening to his website probably since around the year 2000. I think he started in mid-90s, is what he said. He's given so much information. Had to give a tribute to him. Appreciate his health warriorshipness. But I don't know. This is kind of like a dry run. I might put this on YouTube, and I might do another one. So it's a large book. There's so much to cover, but we're gonna get an overview here, approximately 18 minutes or so. It won't take long. You can listen to this video and be on your way with our busy lives, right? So what is effortless healing? Well, things we're going to talk about are number one, water. So I got my bottle of water here with me. Always drinking, always hydrating. Veggies, burning. This is basically the chapters in his book. Talk about eating more veggies, effortless ways to eat more. There's more than that, just that. But burn fat, eat good fats, interval training, sunbathing, 20 minutes a day. Yes, not through a window. Gut balance. Talk about that. There's a revolution going on. Some people are getting on it. Some people are getting sicker. How sleep cleans the brain. We all need more of that, right? 8 hours at the optimal. Grounding, going barefoot on the beach or in your yard for as much as you can per day, up to 20-30 minutes. Or having a grounding mat at home, which plugs into your outlet. It grounds you to the ground. And then things to avoid, like soda, sports drinks, enhanced water. So I'd like to start with what we're not gonna do. If you cut out a lot of these bad things that he talks about here in chapter 9, 219, kind of start at the end. It helps. You cannot. Who is it? Dr. Klinghardt, who's a contemporary of Dr. Mercola. They're good friends. Seen some of their videos. Klinghardt says you cannot be feeding your body toxins and then expecting to take a bunch of vitamins, supplements, whey protein, and drink a bunch of water, trying to flush these things out and get better, right? It doesn't make sense. So Dr. Mercola promotes avoiding these 6 health foods. I call them pseudo health foods or quasi health foods. And it's surprising, right? Okay, here we go. Here's a list. Healing Principle 9 is what this is about. Whole grains like brown rice, natural sweeteners such as agave, unfermented soy products including tofu and soy milk, vegetable oil, most types of fish, and conventional yogurt. For me, the one like whole grains like brown rice, I was like, really? I thought that was one of the most healthy things you can have. But I think he says it in here too. I've read so much, and I read many health books. We're gonna do a lot of these book reviews. I'm sure he says you have to take into account cooking and also where it came from, and also I'm going to add, is it right for your blood type? So for me with brown rice, it's not right for my blood type, type A, and they said the studies show it has much more, like 10 times the amount of arsenic as white rice. And then again, you still can't have too much white rice either, a ton of it. You can have a little. Okay, so basically, let's plug out of here. So natural sweeteners like agave, it's overly processed, not so good for you. The only really good ones are stevia. He writes in there about monk fruit, which I don't really, I mean, it's becoming popular. I want to try it. But I love stevia, and I use xylitol. I use a little bit of raw honey, which raw honey is solid. You gotta scoop it out. It won't pour very well. This bug is gonna bug me. Oh well. Live and let live, right? Unfermented soy products. This, you know, when I first started out, I was big into soy, and so I would be like, not feeling so great. It didn't give me a lot of energy. It produces estrogen. So if you get a fermented soy product like tempeh, it's okay. Vegetable oils. He talks about so-called vegetable oils like canola, corn, and soy. I'm going to add, which is not in the book, cottonseed oil is a junk food oil. So bad for you. So bad. It's in some potato chips. But more importantly, eat good oils, non-fried, unadulterated oils. We'll talk about that. Most types of fish, especially farm-raised, it's not very good. They have a lot of mercury. And then conventional yogurt, because it has a lot of sugar. And then for me, it bothers me. It's not the lactose, it's the chemicals that they put into dairy. That's the problem for me. Pesticides, antibiotics, and hormones. That's what I'm allergic to. I don't feel well because of the Lyme, because I've had to deal with my whole life. Really sensitive to these things. That's why I'm like, Lyme patients are called canaries in the coal mine. That's why I'm doing these things, because I'm like, hey, here's what you got to do if you want to be healthy. It really works. I'm living proof. Okay, so started with the end. What effortless healing is and why you need it. Chapter 1, first sentence. I want to read it. If you have opened this book because you are challenged with a chronic health condition, excess weight, or a general malaise, I'm not surprised. Statistically speaking, you're much more likely to be some level of sick than you are to be well. And I've done various tests, and I'd be like, oh my goodness. That's why, especially men, don't want to go to the doctor. We'd rather just not know, right? I thought I was pretty healthy until I started getting some tests done and realizing, hey, I have some work to do. There's still areas, and I don't want to be delusional, you know. So I get an annual blood test. I like Life Extension's blood test when they run a sale the first of the year. Every like January they have a super sale. So I get that done, and then they have a practitioner check it out, give me some advice. But you should always do all these things with the help of a good holistic doctor. And the book talks more about finding them. You have to do some research, take some effort. Okay, so because we're sick, and then obesity is at an all-time high over the last 40 years, fighting the war on cancer, 500 billion expenditures, yet the death rate is unchanged. So we have to do something different, right? It says 1 in 3 will have diabetes by 2050 at our current rate. 70% of Americans are taking at least one prescription drug for a condition with antibiotics, antidepressants, opioids, top of the list. And then we're being marketed to these solutions. $16 billion every year marketed to physicians, so they'll use drugs as a primary solution to most of the health problems people have. You find in my talks, I'm not anti-Western medicine because we're some of the best innovators in the world, and trauma therapy. We have to work on the prevention and just daily healthy living. And then one of the factors why we get so sick is today much of our food is pasteurized, irradiated, fumigated, and sterilized to the point that bacteria, even the good kind, which we rely on or for our very existence, can no longer survive. And the bacteria in our body outnumber our cells 10 to 1. So we're not out to seek and destroy these things. We have to symbiotically work together, work on our gut, which is 80% of our immune system, which we'll talk about more in depth. If you read and watch TV, you don't get the best health advice. You may be convinced that all you need to do is switch from one processed food to another, from regular cookies to low fat. That's not the key, right? So if you get this book, Effortless Healing, it'll help you add years to your lifespan, gain more energy than you know what to do with. It can help you with cancer, heart disease, diabetes, arthritis, Alzheimer's. And I have to say it helps with Lyme as well. It's a foundation. It doesn't cure Lyme, but all these great foundation for the big diseases. So, got some time here. So, the overview, avoid the foods. Of course, water. Water's, the foundation of health. So good clean water. Dr. Mercola in here talks about structured water, which would be spring water. I know this sounds so basic, right? Spring water, lemon, half of a lemon squeezed into water, Himalayan salt, I hope I spell it right, Himalayan salt. I'm going to do the Master Cleanse book review, one of the most popular of all time, and in there they talk about having 2 teaspoons of Himalayan salt in a glass of good clean water, not tap water, and then that'll make you go to the bathroom. But so I don't do that. What I do is I try to cleanse every day, do something, especially at least every weekend. So in the morning I get up, I make my own Gatorade in a bottle, in a big glass. I drink a big glass of water. I'm always thirsty, and he said that's a good indicator of need for water. It's people used to think like, well, you're already dehydrated. Well, it's an indicator. It doesn't mean give up. It means, hey, let's drink more. Let's drink on a regular basis. Always have some water near you. I bring herbal tea with me to work. I do carpentry. Always been a consumer health advocate. So in the morning, to me, that's the most important thing. Get a glass of water. I do half a teaspoon of Himalayan salt. I do a half of a lemon, and I add magnesium, I add minerals, because sometimes I do the distilled water, and then you have to add minerals yourself. Liquid minerals. Liquimins is a brand that I love. They're popular, known among everyone. And I put a little stevia, so it makes it sweetens the lemon, and it's kind of like drinking lemonade in the morning, like a super lemonade. Mix it up, and I think that's about it, right? Yeah. Sometimes I add other things. Drink half that, and then I take some vitamins that are supposed to be taken on an empty stomach 10 minutes later with the other half. Because I'm big on supplements. I'll probably do a talk just on that, get a book on supplements, and maybe I'll do it on the Life Extension Manual. We'll go over some of the introduction part there. There's some interesting stories about pioneers of health and medicine. Get that to look forward to. Okay, so water, really important. Clean water, don't do tap water. It has fluoride and chloramine, and there's actions in most of Europe is turning away from the fluoride, and there's movements here in the U.S. to stop the fluoride in the water because it's not meant, according to Dr. Mercola, it's not meant to be ingested. That doesn't really help your teeth, he says. Drinking it is not very healthy. Interval training. So, of course, eat veggies, burn fat, eat good fats. Basically, we all need an oil change. We're eating a lot of these bad fats. We need to start putting good fats in, and then your body will release those bad ones. Yeah, you have to go to the bathroom more, but it takes work. You know, this book is about effortless healing, right? You got to work to get your body to the point where it effortlessly heals. So there's going to take some initial work. And I'm going to do a talk on doing things in steps. If you can do one step closer, if you're going to go from eating a lot of sugar like we do and carbs to no sugar and very low carbs, going cold turkey, most people freak out, right? So I say do a step. Just go from wheat or white pasta. Going to whole wheat's not much better, but you're going in the right direction. Okay, it doesn't taste that great either. But then you might then go for organic, some Ezekiel pasta, and then you might go for some quinoa pasta. I like quinoa and brown rice pasta. You know, I'm supposed to avoid brown rice, right? But that's my kind of like cheat. That's the bad. It's like a treat for me. So you keep going until you get to the point where you're like, hey, I can just have some broccoli and a little bit of white rice. And that's instead of pasta, instead of eating a sugary food. You get to that eventually. Don't think it's going to happen overnight for you. Although you can just make a snap change, like Tony Robbins says. So sunbathing, he recommends 20 minutes a day in the direct sun. You have to have a good, healthy, natural sunscreen. Like for me, I use olive oil because I don't really burn that much, and I don't stay out in the sun past. I have some pigment. I don't need as much as other people might, but if you're going to be running around a lot, you got to cover up, right? You don't want to get burned. Gut balance revolution. I should spend more time than we have. I should have. That's why I'm gonna maybe do another one of these talks. Gut balance. He says 80% of your immune system is right here in your gut. Most people, they don't even know. Most people can't define the immune system. Well, that's most of it. Has a lot other factors a lot to do with it. I think personally, a lot of our issues start here in the brain, and there's so much research going on about the brain right now. Sometimes you got to work on this. Because then we try to, fix this with food, right? So you talks about you need some fermented food with every meal, like sauerkraut or kimchi or some tempeh. Good quality supplement is good if you can't get much of those. Avocados, of course. We talk about the good oils. I want to finish that. Oh, okay. So good oils, avocado, nuts, olive oil, but not fried. You can't heat olive oil very much, but you can fry with coconut oil. Okay. Sorry, it's all intertwines. We can come back and we'll go back and forth. But just to round it out, that's really one of the most important things that you can understand is we need to balance our gut. We need to pull out the weeds, avoid those so-called pseudo health foods, and then reseed it with good crops, which is you can get fermented vegetables. Found some good sauerkraut at Big Lots, but it also has to be not pasteurized because we need this beneficial bacteria. I make my own goat kefir. It's another one. You can just take regular organic milk, non-homogenized if possible, and pour some kefir culture in there from the health food store and make your own kefir. Because again, a lot of the kefir brands, they have a bunch of sugar in there, and it's expensive. When you make it yourself, it's cheaper. So it's just, of course we need sleep, because sleep cleans our brain, files things in the right way, and gets rid of things we don't need. You gotta work on trying to get 8 hours of sleep, and I like to get to bed earlier than later. You gotta find out what works for you. Grounding, which means walking barefoot, basically. That's why we love going to the beach and walking barefoot. Connects us to the earth and helps our healing processes work effortlessly. You can get a grounding mat if you can't do that very often. If you can't get outside and walk barefoot in your yard, you can get a grounding mat and put your feet on that. When you say you're working at your desk, or I think there's grounding mats for bed too, which we plug them into the wall, and then that goes down to the ground through your electrical. There's grounding that goes down to the ground. So that's interesting, kind of a little mysterious, but it's you know, something I like to try. And he says, as far as some of the avoids that I wrote down, I guess this pertains to the water we're talking about, right? Okay, we got spring water, lemon, Himalayan. But to avoid soda, sports drinks, enhanced water, he talked about there's some oils in there. Call it like bromelated vegetable oil. I gotta look that up again. And it's not good for you in a lot of these drinks, in some of the sports drinks. So, I mean, like I said, I make my own. I bring tea with lemon, herbal tea with some stevia to work. So, very interesting book. You know, it's kind of long, right? It's a 300 some page book, but about 300 pages. You don't have to read the whole thing. Read the table of contents, read the first chapter, then read chapters that you like, and read maybe the last chapter. Put on the shelf, go look at another book, cross-reference what you know, then come back to the book, read it again. It's like a friend, where you visit. So and then in the end, I'll leave this to you guys. You guys should get the book. If you haven't, buy this book. Your Effortless Healing Plan. It helps you to break it down. There's a good thing in here about EFT, and then he's not beyond, but he also does turbo tapping, which, you know, you might have seen it. People are doing it. It's become really popular, so I missed one. Tap on these different meridian points to release emotional pain, and I think that's where a lot of our health problems start. Traumatic childhood events, he talked about in one of his talks on YouTube, can set us up for sickness for a long time. So we got to work on those. I think most disease starts in our thinking, and that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to change that thinking and to focus on things that are more positive, right? So I love Dr. Joseph Mercola's book, Effortless Healing, 9 simple ways to sidestep illness, shed excess weight, and help your body fix itself. I love this quote from the book. Let it help you to make a transformational journey that feels so good, it becomes effortless. I feel I'm just about to that point where things are just flowing. I'm doing everything I'm supposed to do, gotten away from a lot of bad habits, and always working, always learning, always going to school, so to speak, always taking some kind of class. It really helps to make you happy. So, good health to you.